getting a statement in from the Omani foreign minister, who, by the way, is mediating these talks, al-Busaidi. He has called the exchange between the United States and Iran creative and positive. This is the man who is delivering those messages in between the two parties. What are your thoughts on that and how these negotiations seem to be going? Of course, we have limited information. The two sides are on very different pages, as we've just heard the Iranian spokesperson say, and also the Secretary of State. But what are your thoughts on how these negotiations might go?
I think what is important is not how the negotiations are going, but what they will be delivering, if at all. The bottom line is Iran going to accept America's demands to stop its nuclear program, its higher enrichment of uranium, to stop developing its aggressive missile program, and to stop funding its proxies throughout the Middle East? The United States set very clear demands, and President Trump, in his address to Congress, said very clearly that he prefers diplomacy of a war. But the objectives of the United States are very clear. It is for Iran to stop its axis of aggression, which, by the way, the Iranian regime has the nerve to describe as an axis of resistance. It's not an axis of resistance, it's an axis of aggression. And Iran is posing a threat to its neighbors, but also to Europe and now to the United States. And as I said, what is important is not what we hear from Geneva right now, but what we will eventually hear at the end of those negotiations, meaning, is the Islamic Republic of Iran accepting, yes or no, to meet the demands of the U.S. government?
Have said that they will not give up their right to peaceful enrichment, that they are open to negotiating a substantial decline in it, but they won't give up its peaceful means of enrichment for nuclear energy. Another thing they've said is off the table is though support for regional proxies, something that the United States hopes to bring in, and of course also its ballistic program. Do you trust the son-in-law of Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, and of course his Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, to press on these issues a substantial amount? Are these real deal breakers for them, do you think, or is this mainly going to focus on the nuclear file?
Talking about trust, I certainly do not trust the Islamic Republic of Iran when it says that its nuclear program is peaceful. If it were peaceful, then they would not be enriching uranium at military level, and they would not insist on carrying on their long-term missile program and financing their terrorist proxies throughout the Middle East in order to implement their aggressive policies in the Middle East. So I do not trust the Iranian regime when it says that its nuclear program is for peaceful means. It is for war and for its objective of destroying the state of Israel and the Jewish people, and of achieving this imperialistic policy in the Middle East. But this is not going to work, because to answer your question about what leverage Iran has today, it has no leverage at all. It is a failed economy facing the world's only superpower, and it has to either accept the conditions of the United States or face war. And in that sense, it's not that the Iranian regime has any leverage, but unfortunately, it is motivated by a suicidal ideology. It is willing to sacrifice its own population in order to implement its demented ideology of bringing the 12th Imam and being willing to sacrifice their population for that stake.